Hello and welcome back to the RWBY podcast. It has been like 2 months. We are talking about RWBY Volume 8, Episode 8, which also happens to be the 100th episode of RWBY. I am a humble GameStop investor, Mediocrity 4.
It is I, High Powered. I am glad to be back. As in the show where the fire is rising, so are the value of my 9,000 Dogecoins. Maybe it'll hit $1, and maybe I could buy a $9,000 mountain bike. Who knows? Find out in a year whenever I brag about it, or I'd say nothing about it.
And I am Robert. Good to be back. It's been a while for me, although I did also get to participate in the Mandalorian cast that we did. But yeah, I'm just glad to be back. I'm Robert.
They say distance makes the heart grow fonder, but did I really miss RWBY and you guys? Yeah, I guess so. Come here. I guess you are my little sock champ. I'm Sock Lucard.
Dang, that was adorable.
Yes.
As I said on Rudolph's Giga stream, the real RWBY was the friends that we made along the way.
It really is. We do have a different cast this week because it is Super Bowl Sunday as we are recording this, and both Coop and Dude are at their own respective Super Bowl parties with loved ones and Marine buddies. But we got Robert back, and we still have socks on.
Yay!
I would hope so. It's cold outside.
Hey,
I'm actually bundled up in a blanket right now. it's really cold in my room.
I look over at my thermostat and it says 73 degrees inside of this apartment, but if I step outside, it's a lot colder.
See, so long as we don't like put in a bunch of space heaters in this apartment, our electric bill is like $50.
That's not bad at all.
It's cheapest place I think we've ever lived, as far as that goes. But this episode was pretty intense. I don't think it worked perfectly. I think there are some things that it tried to do that are just actually legitimately hard for even the best writers to pull off, and so RWBY not pulling it off isn't really a complaint, just an observation.
It's
but
still something. It's still like something that to really like hit off right after a hiatus.
Yeah.
Just like it's like just hit us with something just right off the bat.
Yep.
I do think this is a better foot to step to lead off on than last week. And we said, or last episode rather. And last episode I said that I thought that the prior episode 6, would have been a better cutoff point, but knowing this episode and where it ended up going, I do think that break where it was good, even though we know that the break wasn't intended, that they did that at kind of 11th hour because of COVID.
And maybe also because they realized never mind. Yeah. But I thought this was, I don't know. I did think that, like, I don't know. I feel like this is kind of a nice episode for me to be coming back to the podcast on too, because like, I don't know. I haven't hated this volume really, but I feel like I was just at the point, like when I first got into it, I was kind of just like, I don't know, a little burned out and stuff like that. I was just like, okay, yeah, RWBY's starting up again, and I'll watch it and stuff like that because I'm invested and stuff like that, and I'm curious to see where, where things go and how the story goes, mostly so that I can try to do it better. But
well, I like to see it as like I started to mean Kevin. I see it more as like as the one of us who's like the most eloquent of the storytelling thing. It's like you actually have, when you coming back to this episode, you actually have like stuff to talk about instead of like, hey, I'm going to talk about people bitching about the show.
Yeah, and so this was a fun episode to come back on, and a lot to talk about, a lot of character stuff. Again, some of it was a little odd to me. Like, I guess one thing that I thought was like I didn't necessarily hate, but I thought was kind of interesting was like Willow's kind of state of being throughout the episode. The fact that like she's kind of like mid-nervous. Yeah, she's basically in the middle of like a nervous breakdown throughout the entire episode. She's like having a panic attack the entire time. And so
she's the only one who got the memo that this was supposed to be a horror episode.
yeah, kind of.
That
it's like
much is the truth there,
that's kind of what it is this episode felt like it's a horror episode, and like and it does kind of work with Whitley and Willow being there, and and even like Nora being there and being incapacitated, although they didn't really use that. Like she was never really in any danger at any point, even though she's injured. But the fact that, it's like, oh yeah, Whitley probably doesn't have his aura or anything. He's, never fought or anything. And then, Willow's. So when the thing starts crawling around in the room and stuff like that, he's the one that's kind of like, that's got to, be hidden. And then, Whitley, and then Willow is, also so she summoned, like, we know that she can use the family semblance of summoning and stuff like that. She summoned a Borbotusk, but she doesn't, but other than that, she doesn't seem particularly capable. So it's the question of like, how much training did she have? Was she a huntress once, or like, was she a huntress, and did she, and this is kind of where it seemed weird to me, kind of, is it raised the question of like, was she a huntress, and did something happen? Does she have PTSD, or like, is she just, and is that why she drinks, or does she drink just because like, I don't know, from the stress, of a shitty marriage and abusive relation, and a shitty and probably abusive marriage and stuff like that? Like, is she, I don't know, like, does Jacques beat her and stuff like that, and is that why she drinks? And it's not the first time we've seen that, like, I don't know, that it seems to be implied that like she drinks to deal with some sort of stress. Her hands were shaking when she was talking to Y Celeste Volume 2 and stuff when we first introduced her. But it seems a little like
I think it's a little bit of both worlds. Like it like most of the time we also just like knew from the info that like, yes, like she mostly just drowned herself in alcohol because, shitty marriage, kids were fucking not, just mirrors, or they were just, they weren't anything to praise at a certain
the kids
points.
Are not okay.
Yeah, the kids are not okay. And then also, and then she, from the comics, that she was a huntress, so there, you could assume that something with the Grimm happened. But like,
okay,
I don't think she was any high class huntress.
I kind of doubt.
So she might have stopped. She might have stopped at a certain point because, like, yeah, the Grimm are fucking scary. Fuck this.
Like, I would just say this. I doubt, like, it's like, oh, I fought Grimm for a bit, and then once she gets married off, then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna stop being a huntress now since I'm a mom.
Yeah.
There's no like Conan the Barbarian where like, a Beowulf like pokes her in the belly, and then it like, battlefield C-section happens.
God.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
Also, fun fact, all of the Conan Barbarian audiobooks, and they're really good, are free on YouTube for you to listen to.
Nice. I just feature I'm just like imagining like a Beowulf going, "Trust me, I'm a doctor." That's all I'm seeing now.
Okay. But yeah, so I didn't read I haven't read the comics, so I didn't know that she used to be a huntress, but yeah, so still she's out of practice and she's wasted. So it's
she's wonky, if I want to put it to any words right now. She's wonky, but she's very like capable at the same time.
She's not, but she's like, I don't know. She's not capable of fighting this, but yeah, so she's clearly not entirely capable of fighting this thing. She doesn't have whatever weapon she used to use, and like, I don't know. And also, like, I don't know, this is probably like as scary as it gets for a mother and stuff like that. 2 of her kids are in danger and stuff like that with this thing in the house, and one of them can't defend himself. So yeah, she's doing the best she can to try and keep them safe and stuff, but at the same time, it's like she's not prepared for this. She's definitely not in the state of mind to deal with it. So I thought that was
Mama Bear still has claws.
Yeah, it's like the fact that she like even though she's like mostly considered a shit mother, she still cares. Like she'll fight tooth and claw or somehow, like even if it's screaming.
Yeah, so she's still trying to. So yeah, and that was kind of a nice. I don't know. I guess kind of a sweet moment and stuff like that. The fact that like the reveal that I don't know, you think the Borbatus that jumped the thing was Weiss, and then you realize that it's Willow. I thought that was a nice moment of like, oh yeah, she cares about her kid, and even though she's terrified, she's trying to protect them. That was a sweet moment there, and I think it was maybe a little more effective than if it turned out to be Weiss, and then Weiss comes in to protect them and stuff. So yeah,
there's also some like little like aggression between Whitley and Willow. It's like even with that, like it's like Willow's like, shut up! I know you're playing Minecraft in your room. Let's go. There's something in your house.
Yep.
No, Mom, I'm about to have more than 10 viewers in my Twitch chat.
Yeah, and we do also get that nice, or I don't know, some nice stuff for Whitley here. I feel like Whitley's kind of been, or was kind of a blank slate character where we know that he was kind of daddy's boy for a while, but then he's I don't know, but then we've slowly seen him showing a little more compassion, a little more friendliness, which he's a kid, he's like what, RWBY's age? Did they ever? I don't know if they've ever specified how old he is, but he's around.
I think they said that he's 2 years younger than Weiss. So yes, he's
so
about.
He's he's 17 right now and stuff like that. And there's still that. I don't know. I guess I believe that there's still that part of him that can be like capable of just saying like, "Hey, nobody's that heartless" and stuff like that. And like, here's a way that he can help, and he takes it. He's not quite the selfish bastard that Jacques is yet, and so he's comes up with the idea for them to basically, I guess what it was like send drones to pilot cargo ships to start evacuating Mantle and and I'm assuming also evacuate Atlas and stuff, which
Well, I mean, he's sending them to the crater to basically consolidate the people that they have to protect. He's taking people from Mantle to Atlas. That way, all the huntresses and stuff that are in Mantle can come up to Atlas and have a unified front against Salem.
Which, how well that's gonna work out, I don't know, because I mean
it's something. It's something at the very least. Because it's like, at least Whitley's doing something. It's, I don't know. I feel bad for anything I've actually said about Whitley. Like, the more I see him, he's just like, you know what? I'm gonna be like, I'm just here, and I'm also gonna like use my like abilities to the most. Just think of shit.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, but then again, at the same time, it makes sense because Jock should have been grooming Whitley to take over the company whenever he gets of age. So if anyone would know the passwords or like, oh hey, we've got X or Y amount of whatever is in this factory.
These are the resources that we have. Yeah,
like this is
not only that, but like in Volume 4, Weiss got cut off from the company. Whitley is the only one at this point who would have any kind of credentials or access to that stuff because Jacques in prison, Weiss and Winter have both been cut off from the Schnee family resources.
He's the sole heir. He is the Schnee Dust Company right now.
He is the Schnee Dust Company, and hooray for private ownership.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of funny also when they talk about how like their house has a generator and stuff. Like, I don't know. I thought that was where they're kind of like, oh, it doesn't seem really fair that like I guess what it is that like different like because of their position they're given a generator and stuff like that. But it's like,
or they just buy one.
They just bought it. Like, whenever you're that rich, you can afford to have a backup generator for your mansion.
Well, if you can, I actually looked this up. If you can afford a house, you can afford a generator and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like you can afford a relatively cheap generator. So the idea that like, oh, that like this is somehow a great privilege that only the richest of the rich would have. It's like, no, this is something that like any middle class homeowner would have.
Well, let's put this in perspective.
I guess it's another
whenever
world
you
and
say
stuff like
generator,
that. So maybe
that's like I have a generator that has enough power to keep the food from spoiling and to wash clothes with, versus I have a generator where the power went out and I don't even realize that the power went out.
Yeah. Also, just as far as power stuff goes, those candles. That's I don't think it's the first time. I don't think it's the first time I've seen something like that in a show, but that is like, oh, they're like dust powered candles. I guess that better than the possibility of some poor soul having to individually light the candles every single night.
That's 90% of Clyde's job.
which is you look at things like Skyrim, or it's a very common in video games. It's very video game logic where you'll find like torches or campfires and they're just eternally burning, and you're just like, this is some ludonarrative. This is what we call ludonarrative dissonance.
Why don't we just put like a pot of water on it and then just generate infinite power?
Skyrim is a fun example of that because there's a candle in one of the hotels or whatever that's supposedly like eternally burning. Like that's actually part of its lore. It's been burning for 400 years or whatever, and any player that runs into that's just like, wait, isn't that every fire in this game?
Every fire in this game. Yeah.
I think it's more like as the Dovahkiin being an asshole, you Fusra Dawn put it out, and you're like, oops, sorry.
Yeah. It turns out that's the one candle that you can put out.
Yeah.
This whole sequence, it does set up kind of the horror angle. Other than the crow scenes, which book in the crow/Watts scenes that book in this episode, this entire episode is in this mansion or around this mansion. They do go outside for a bit to fight the Hound
and random StarCraft Zergling that attacks them.
yeah, in a Zergling.
I was like, it's just ugly. It's just like this fucking like acid sack on this front, like
yeah.
I'm surprised a bunch of that acid didn't just spray all over the place when RWBY bisected that thing.
Yeah,
I know, fucking hey, dude.
It's like, what are
it's like she like slashes through it. She like looks up, like, I heard you, and there's just Blake, and there's like half of her skull missing because she's like acid's just eating through, just splash zone.
Brutal.
But it's supposed to set up this like horror angle. They're locked in a house with the monster, and like I think they do their damnedest to try to make this work. I'm going to compare this to The Apathy from Volume 6, because that was another time where they tried to do the horror angle, and I think The Apathy worked better because it was a psychological threat, not a physical threat.
Yeah,
like they make the Hound so powerful that it's just like bodying these characters. Like it crushes Penny. Like I know Penny's hurt and stuff, so she's not fighting at full capacity, but a display of power we've never seen in this show.
I think I attribute it to more like, as you said, like, the Apathy was more of a psychological thing. Well, this is more like a Jason Voorhees kind of thing, which is kind of like it's coming.
It's a force of nature.
That's why I don't think it. That's why I don't think it works as well.
I'm not a big slasher guy.
With Apathy, you can't just overpower them. It crushes your will to even doing anything, and so it doesn't matter how strong the characters are. The Apathy are going to have an edge. The Hound, on the other hand, because it is just a physical threat, and this is RWBY, it doesn't work as well. It's action horror, which I don't think has ever really worked as far as being scary goes.
Yeah, it's not scary. It's like, what's scary?
The only way to try to even make this work is to make the monster just that much stronger than the heroes. So, like in a conventional monster movie, let's look at a conventional monster movie. Let's look at like the Wolfman. The Wolfman is much stronger than any human being. That gap in strength is the same proportional gap in strength as a huntress, of RWBY's caliber, and the Hound. So that's why it's like a terrifying threat to them. But it's not scary because you're still dealing with superhumans. RWBY can run faster than the speed of sound. Weiss can summon her knight. She almost summons the Nevermore at one point in this episode, which was really neat.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. It got cut short.
You got Penny, even though she's hurt. You got Willow and Whitley, who aren't combatants, but they still contribute.
They're the ones who kill it. They drop a statue on it.
You got Blake.
Yeah,
you
and
got
then
Blake
we get the
who
reveal
gets
too
body.
that there's a human being in there, but I feel like we could
Yeah,
save that for later.
we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of interesting implications there. They still manage to kill it, and they kill it because of Ruby Silver Eyes and then a falling statue. That is cool for an action series, and it's a good action set piece moment, I think. But it never really scared me because the entire time I was just waiting for Ruby to use her silver eyes on it and see what happened.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too. Also with this, it's like, oh, the Hound attack. It's like, all right, we'll just wait for Ruby to use the silver eyes and zap the Hound, and oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's like we were like I know eventually like we were going to see the silver eyes happen on the Hound, but like I think there's a small part of us that we can all admit to that we were kind of like hoping that we were expecting more out of the Hound because we just had hyped it up because of its intelligence.
Yeah.
It's like,
kind of. I was that it was kind of like, I don't know. I think
like,
that's kind of my big I think that's kind of my big beef with like this volume and last volume. This entire Atlas arc, volume 7 and volume 8 now, is that I feel like a lot of it is rushed. I feel like they're trying to do too much in too short of a time and stuff like that. And I like everything that they're trying to do, but a lot of it does feel very like I wouldn't leave out any of what they've done, but I think they've just tried to. I think that it's kind of, I don't know, catching up to them, that they're shifting through a lot of plot points, and that's why, like you said, we kind of expect more from that. We were kind of expecting more from the Hound, expecting it to be a more constant threat, and the implication is that there's probably going to be more of them.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
But whether or not that's a good thing or not, it might be one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, remember when these things used to be this massive threat, like the Doomsday type thing, or the war
what do we call them again? Shit.
I guess the Worf effect, kind of, where it's like, hey, power creep, maybe.
Well, I feel like this Grim is kind of replacing the Barangle almost.
Oh yeah,
where it's like, oh yeah, we got this cool Gorilla Grim, and now we have this Werewolf Grim.
Have the Winged Barangles made an appearance in this volume? Because
they have.
Volume 6 tried to make like a big deal of them.
They have, but they haven't made an impact other than like, hey, they're flying towards us.
Which is kind of a shame. I think it's just because everybody was like, oh, that is so lame. It's like, oh, come. It's a giant flying gorilla. That's kind of scary. It's a Wizard of Oz reference, but I don't know. I thought the flying monkeys were terrifying when I was a kid.
I mean, we still have a couple episodes, so like, I there's gonna be something.
But so I am a little worried that the Hound will become like, I don't know, or the Hounds, since we'll probably be getting more of them and stuff. She'll probably start mass producing, but like that they will, kind of be forgotten and stuff like that. Although, with the reveal that they're actually people in there, maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe it won't be quite maybe it'll still stick with us, the fact that, oh, they're killing people. But so that is a concern. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I do want these characters to get stronger and stuff like that, and to, get better down the road. So the idea of them eventually being able to beat them, I don't know. Maybe it'll work out. But yeah. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's like, especially if this has been like a long, like thousands of years thing, and there's just been, stockpiling this kind of stuff. It's like these are the threats now, because it kind of like eliminates that factor of like, what's the point? Because Ruby can just eye blast them. It's like, well, she can, but not that effective.
Yeah, since they're now apart. That is true, actually. Yeah, I guess that might be. Yeah, and that is something to be given to be said, I guess, to like the Hound's credit and stuff like that. That we all knew that Ruby was going to blast it with silver eyes and stuff like that, but it kept coming after she did, which, and the fact that they're part human might like lend itself to that almost. The fact that that human part is the part that.
Well, Ruby's silver eyes have always had limitations.
Yeah.
You look back at like the Leviathan, it only froze it for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Long enough for it to get hit with the the Gurren Lagann drill.
Yeah.
Gurren Lagann. Yeah.
Yeah. But this is why earlier in the volume I was kind of hoping that the Hound was going to be the big threat for Yang and Jean's side of things, and that Cinder was going to be RWBY's big threat, because we know Cinder can also be hurt by the Silver Eyes, but she's resistant to it. We already knew that because, I mean, she's still alive.
Yeah.
plus if Cinder
she's been blasted by it 3 times.
And there's more emotion if like Cinder fights fights John's group than RWBY.
Sure, I don't know. I don't know. Cinder's always had a hate boner for RWBY, like, and that's true. And we're that's certainly where it's, you know, heading again with Cinder's appearance in this episode.
Yeah.
It just keeps happening, man. It just keeps happening.
But that was when I was thinking that, you know, the Hound was just a new type of Grimm or whatever. I didn't think it was going to do anything against the Silver Eyes, whereas I knew Cinder, you know, at least had some resistance to it.
Yeah, I can't like. It was like this was one of the episodes where I'm like, man, I wish media reacted to these things because I wanted to see his reaction to that. Like, excuse me.
My reaction to this, I was kind of stoned because I was still laying in bed watching it on my phone.
Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst quality.
Yeah.
When you're only half awake and you see something kind of cool, that's a bummer.
Yeah. I haven't been, you know, feeling the best lately. It's been very cold. And my, you know, seasonal allergies are getting the best of me. But let's talk about you know, let's kind of segue into what the Hound ended up being, because it's not just a person. It's
it's a faunus.
It's a faunus. I actually just saw this meme. So someone drew like a little fan comic of the scene where Weiss is like, "What was that?" And RWBY says, "It was a person." And then Whitley shouts, "I'm pretty sure it was a faunus." It looked more like a faunus to me.
God, get it out of my house before the fleas spread out all over here.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice that it was a faunus though.
Yeah, no, it was a faunus. Especially like going to see everyone else's expressions, especially on Twitter. So many people thought it was Adam at first.
So did I at first, because I saw that, like, because it had his hairdo, you know, it had the hair standing up, and then I saw that no, it had like ears and stuff. It had like,
I
was like, I didn't see any resemblance to Adam, but like, I was just like,
it kind of. At first, I did, and also because like, you know, its eye, one of its eyes was covered up, so people thought like, oh, that's where his.
It's on the wrong side of its face.
Yeah, but so I do think, but like I can understand what that would be. People's like, I don't know, first instinct to think, oh, is that Adam? And then, but no, it definitely was not Adam. So
it's like that. I would give people the benefit of the doubt, but that's one of the things I'm like, I can't see it. I don't know how people. I do not know how people did that because it's like, as you said, it's like, there's the scarring on the side of the face, but that's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
I am glad that it's not someone we know, because I feel like if it was someone we know, it would kind of cheapen the Hound as its own like character.
Yeah.
Because okay, if it, you know, we're still calling it the Hound because we don't have a name for this, you know, dog faunus guy. If it was, say, Roman Torchwick, we'd just be calling him Grim Torchwick now.
Yeah.
And that cheapens, you know, the impact that the Hound did when he was introduced earlier this volume.
Though I do like.
And if it had turned out to be pure, everybody would just be like, "Why did she recognize John?" Blah 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 blah.
No, that's not happening.
That's also.
That's I saw some people on Twitter. I'm just like, no, stop that. Get some help.
But speaking of that, there is. I don't know if you guys realize this or not. I'm always skeptical of this because Rooster Teeth have dropped the ball on this numerous times. It had silver eyes.
No, that's the main thing. That was the main thing. That
Yeah,
I thought that was what we were talking about. That's the thing that it means that
and we're sure they were silver eyes and not like gray.
They were silver. They were silver.
I am 90% sure. They've said before that
they have dealt with their kind.
A lot of back in the poser days, they had to have the silver eyes as part of the like eye model, settings for RWBY, but because of that, a lot of the random NPCs ended up getting silver eyes. So when they switched to Maya, they made a more conscious effort to eliminate that by giving RWBY's eyes special, like little, like marks
little
in the bottom,
flakes.
little white marks on the bottom, and we've only ever seen those marks on RWBY. Actually, I don't even think we saw them on Maria.
Summer.
We had I don't know if we got. I don't know. I don't know if we got a good enough look at Summer's or Maria's eyes, because it was with Maria. It was like a second after her mask broke that she had her eyes gouged out.
Yeah.
So I don't think we ever really got to saw her silver eyes. And with Summer, again, because it was such a brief scene in Volume 6, I don't know if we got to see her eyes very well. We just we know it's Summer.
But that just leads more.
With this one,
Salem wants RWBY alive.
Yeah, with this one, it definitely had those marks. And then on Twitter, last night and earlier today, Miles and Eddie have both liked posts that have pointed this out.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely
so that's as close as we're gonna get to a confirmation until someone asks them an autistic question at the virtual
I'm all for
like green or something.
I'm all for like waiting for 100% confirmation, especially because we've been burned by this so many times. With silver eyes. There's been scenes where Winter has had silver eyes just because of lighting glitches and stuff like that. Like this has happened a lot where, is that silver eyes? And then people look closely like, no, that's just the lighting in RWBY being kind of one of its worst aspects. But this one, it does. I am 90% sure that these are silver eyes. And my theory is that Salem has tried to make these grim human hybrids before, but people with silver eyes are because they're so resistant to grim and they have like that anti-grim magic, that they're the only ones who could survive the process. And the implication there is that this is something that had to have started fairly recently, because when Maria was young, that was, Salem wanted her dead, not captured. So there is the possibility that we could see a grimified Summer, which I am okay with because of what happened to the Hound here, where he's
fucked. Like he's just absolutely.
His brain is gone. He's just got this one.
Is dead.
He's just
body structure fucked.
Yeah. Where Cinder is like a human with a grim entity inside of her and grim limbs attached to her. This is a reanimated corpse. This is a corpse. Like when all the grim goo and stuff disappears, his arm is like just a skeleton.
It's not a human skeleton anymore.
Yeah, it's not a human one.
He's so mutated beyond, recognition. If not for like the ears, he'd probably just look like another monster underneath the monster.
Although the way it like the part where he reaches up and like his arm is moving and like it's dragging behind him did kind of remind me of Cinder's arm. So I am curious to see if this has any kind of implication for like, I don't know, Cinder's future and stuff like that. If like if she's gonna have to deal with.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Hey, it just furthers my statement that at the end of this series, Cinder is going to be a writhing tentacle monster.
Mate, you've got.
I mean, that's been a theory for a while because
for like volume 6. You guys have been saying that since.
Because it looks like the Grim arm is encompassing more of her arm with each volume.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to like look
Usually
at side by side comparisons.
Blast that RWBY hits her with, but yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to actually look at side by side comparisons, but I'm pretty sure like volume 5, it was a little bit past her elbow, and in volume 7, when she fought Winter, it was up to her shoulder. So
okay.
That seems to be the direction Cinder is going, which is a very, I like it.
Yeah.
And then when RWBY silver eyes off Cinder's arm and she just bleeds out in under a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a little bit more than that, but I see what you're going.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm watching I'm watching it on mute right now, and yeah, when after like the Hound dies and stuff like that, you see like its arm sticking out, and its arm looks a lot like Cinder's before it's like disintegrates into just bone, basically. So like, yeah, she basically encased them in like a grim cocoon or something, maybe. I don't know.
Well, and then we forget too in volume 4, whenever Salem was like, yes, capture the girl.
Yeah, like
we were initially why did she want her alive? She wanted RWBY alive. And I thought it was just too where it's like kind of shows like the level of intelligence of the Hound, where it's like at first I'm like, okay, it's like they're going after RWBY, and then I see like, all the spilled oil on RWBY. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
It's like, oh, that's it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, and then so it's like it took me like I was being smooth brained for a moment. I was like, man, why is it attacking RWBY? And then I see, and then I draw the line, and I was like, okay, it all makes sense now.
Yeah, because you had to pay more attention to the penny blood because God, it was everywhere.
Well, that's another thing that struck me about the Hound, especially in this episode, and I went back to his capture of Oscar, and it kind of lines up where he has straight tunnel vision. Like he's obviously smart. He can talk. He knows how to defend himself and knows how to fight and stuff. But he's so single-minded about he's so single-minded about his missions that it's easy to actually get the drop on him. So when he shows up, he like smells Penny on RWBY and thinks that RWBY is Penny. Like he doesn't have the creative, complex thinking to realize, wait, I don't think this is my target. I think they're just someone who interacted with my target.
Is that object permanence, or is that I'm trying to remember what mental faculty that is? Because it's almost like he's essentially been lobotomized.
Tunnel vision, I think is the term. Object permanence is like realizing that even when your eyes are closed, everything is exactly where it was when your eyes were open. It's the fact that everything exists even when you're not looking at it. But with the Hound in the scene, he goes to capture RWBY, and then he senses Penny using the magic and realizes, oh wait, that's what I'm after. And so he then gets into the mansion and then picks up her trail from there, which is where he runs into Whitley, who has Penny's juices all over his chest. Ship confirmed.
Let's hold on.
That was one thing that kind of had me wondering, though, because so it realizes that RWBY is not the one it looks for. It goes back to the mansion. Weiss shows up. She's also covered in like the guts and stuff like that, and it just brushes past her. Figures out that she's not the one it's after either. But then so that kind of had me wondering how much danger was Whitley actually in? If it had run into Whitley, would it have actually hurt him? Or
it might have swatted him down if he resisted, but I mean, it did want this, once Penny alive, so at worst, Whitley would end up being captured, and Salem would be like, God damn it, this thing, I need to work on its intelligence.
And I think the other thing, too, to kind of, show, its intelligence, whenever it's surrounded, it's holding up Penny, ready to, pop off Penny's head.
Yeah,
it did the same thing with Oscar.
With Oscar, yeah, it held him up and held him out, to kind of try and keep people from attacking them. Although Jean still should have been able to attack him. Like that's the time when the close range fighter should have stepped up, but no. But I did. But yeah, and I guess maybe it could have also been the fact that it just brushes past Weiss because it doesn't want to waste time fighting her. And
Well,
she's a fighter,
Weiss was already outside when it was sensing Penny from inside.
I guess that's also true.
So it knew that, so it was able to single out RWBY, Weiss, and Blake as not Penny.
Yeah, and I guess with Whitley, it just wouldn't have thought twice about killing him because it's like, why not? It won't mean anything.
I do think it's like, because I didn't really catch it myself because I really don't pay much attention to it. But most people have like actually said that that faunus that was in the Hound was a fox, so you would have a fox in the Hound kind of reference.
Nah, the ears were too small to be a fox.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the fact
it was more like a wolf or like a coyote or just like a German Shepherd or something.
Yeah.
So something with smaller pointed ears.
So the fact that it was a faunus initially, that kind of had me I don't know, wondering about like the implications there of like, I don't know, where did this guy come from? Has something been happening in Menagerie since they've been gone? Has something happened in Mistral? Or like, was Jacques like sending?
Hey, you forget since volume
trafficking
4,
people? But the fact that it was a Silver Eyes, I guess maybe not. But
all them huntsmen have been disappearing since volume 4.
Mistral, yeah.
Why's it gotta be weird?
Remember,
Robert? Why's it gotta? Why does it have to be weird? Because it's a faunus, huh? You guys, you saying faunus can't be grim monstrosities too? Well, come on now.
I just assumed that no, but it maybe implies that I don't know. I thought that had some implications there that like I don't know. It would say more about the cruelty of Salem or Jacques if he was like selling off his employees to Salem or something like that, like for her experiments that like, oh, no one will miss them because they're faunus or something like that, which
but I think people give too much shit for like that kind of stuff because it's like I don't think he's actually the one to blame for all that. I think it's just like racial like racist like underlings. He seemed fine. He seems fine with them.
I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't called a faunus the N-word yet, so verdict's still out.
Man, that'd be a really weird RWBY episode.
For Watts, it's just like as long as you get the job done, I don't care.
Yeah, like
which according to some leftists, that's actually the worst type of racism.
I mean, he did more or less say like I don't know. He did more or less say like we pay them. I pay them the same as I pay everyone, as I pay all of my employees. But I think the implication,
which is jack shit.
Yeah,
I'm not racist. I treat all my workers equally terribly.
Yeah. And I guess the implication there is that
the Jeff Bezos approach.
Is that no one else will hire them for higher paying jobs or something? But
yeah, he's an asshole for like using that kind of like to his advantage. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I have like the amount of fan fiction I've read where they just kind of make him up to be this like monster. I'm like, I don't see it. It's not here.
It's very much informed prejudice and racism, definitely.
Yeah,
still kind of is and stuff like, and that's just been the thing with like the White Fang and the faunus pretty much since day one. Is it's been informed racism and stuff like that. We've like the most we've actually seen is Cardin yanking Velvet's ears and the one bar in Mistral refusing to, cater to faunus and stuff like that. So like that's more or less the most of it. And I guess maybe the implications of like, I don't know, like Mantle, the class system in the Kingdom of Atlas, which is like the filthy rich people live up in Atlas, the poor people live in Mantle, and the faunus live in the crater, which is like
Yeah, that's just like, man, Alice is the one that's fucked.
Yeah.
God.
But no, so that's
Salem is taking the term "eat the rich" way too seriously.
Dude, for any of Villia's fans, it's like she's just straight up Banaka Conchita, but like more of a bitch. Banaka Conchita actually has redeeming qualities. God.
But so yeah, the Hound finding out what he really is, and like there were theories. I remember that there were theories, and I probably would have been fine if it had just turned out to be a particularly adaptational Grimm and stuff like that. But the implications of the fact that no, it's there's a person in there and stuff like that, and there will be people in there when we see these things. Like, I don't know. That is potentially scary and intimidating, and so yeah, it's like I don't know. Take that, Attack on Titan, I guess. But yeah,
Attack on Titan is its own beast. I don't know. Like I think it is more of like a, because they are silver eyed or not. Like if it's only silver eyes that can be like this, then I don't know. It's like yeah, like I don't know. It's like depends on how, like, because I had a thing where it's like I said, oh, she could have been stockpiling these for a while. It's like, but then like Mita brings it up. It's like, yeah, well, you know that is true. It's like they just wanted them dead early, but like back in Maria's time. So it's like it couldn't have been that long. But that still just raises the possibility of Grim Summer. It's just like, well, let's devastate Ruby. This is how you break her.
Yeah,
like
which she's already on the verge of breaking. And I do like that when she first looks at it, she's looking like that. We get Ruby's reaction, which is horror, which is basically pure horror. So next episode, we might find out, like they might discuss used to be like it had silver eyes and like deal with that terror of like I don't know.
Yeah, that okay. See, that would make the horror angle work a lot better on the whole, because then Ruby would be like, "Oh my god, that's what Salem.
That's what happened to Mom.
That's what Salem was going to turn me into. She's gonna, if she gets me, she's gonna turn me into that thing, and I'm gonna have to fight my friends, and they're gonna have to kill me. Like that's a lot to take in when you're only a 17-year-old super weapon.
Like they want
pretty much.
I don't know. I can see it kind of like I can see her 19 now.
She's 17.
17-ish.
Yeah, she's 17. It's been 2 years since this series started, so the characters who were 15 before are 17 now. The characters who were 17 before are 19 now. So yeah.
I can see him being snarky. I can see him being snarky, like that Faultless. He had silver eyes. Are you sure it wasn't a trick of the light?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't a trick of the light or something like that?
Yeah.
I
can see him being snarky about it, but
yeah, I will laugh if Blake or Weiss say that, if for no other reason than to just try to cheer Ruby up and be like, no, you're not a monster.
You're not going to turn into a monster. They're not going to sick your mom on you.
Finds a way to make it about her. Like, no, it's not that he had silver eyes. It's that he was a Faunus.
Oh God.
I just go right back on my shit list.
Listen, if that happens, I have nothing to help this Blake defense squad with. I have to step back and let that one go.
Yeah. So speaking of Blake, though, she and Ruby had their very first actual one-on-one conversation in the entire series in this episode,
and it was sweet. It was very sweet.
It was actually. It was a nice little chat of Blake basically. Because Ruby's and Ruby's at the point where kind of having her leadership questioned, and last episode she had to deal with the fact that like, okay, shit's going down in Mantle with the crater, and shit's going down up here in Atlas. So, and I can't be in two places at once, and I can't really do anything. Like, I don't want to abandon, our wounded friend here, but I also can't go and jump into the front lines of this battle in Atlas because I'll be arrested or shot on sight. And like, I can't leave, and just like knowing that she can't do anything. And, you also get that nice bit from Klein where he says, you take it one step at a time. You do, you look at your tasks ahead of you. You start with what you can do right now and stuff like that. And then, and then she has that.
I like that scene. Guys, Blake is still on the shit list, but
she definitely shoveled herself out a little bit.
She's climbing her way out in this volume.
Yeah, it's very
nice. To a lesser extent, volume 7. Like I said in volume 7 that even though I didn't like Blake in that volume, I liked her more than Yang last volume. Because Yang's firmly on the shit list now. But Blake Blake really did a lot to climb herself out off of my shit list with this conversation, and the fact that like Yang's not even mentioned.
Yeah, like,
that actually helps a lot because you look back. I have to point out that this episode was written by Miles. And episode 4, which is another contender for the best episode of this volume, was written by Eddie. But the big downside to episode 4 was the conversation between Yang and Jean when they're alone.
Yeah.
And Yang's like, yeah,
more worried about what Blake thinks about her right now than what RWBY thinks about her after she basically called RWBY's leadership into you didn't even she and Blake didn't even talk in episode 1. I don't think they've talked at all this volume, but Yang's more worried about what Blake thinks about her. That makes absolutely no sense. It's just for the sake of the shippers.
And it really put into focus why Blake is with RWBY in this plot line and not Yang, and that's been a nice thing about this volume is splitting up Yang and Blake because they were so up each other's asses the last 2 volumes.
Yeah, I think they're aware of that because
farts the entire time.
Yeah.
There's a difference between what we were originally assuming, which was they got complaints about that, and so they decided to mix up the character dynamics and flesh this stuff out, which is fine on its own. But they elevated it by actually showing what Blake thinks of RWBY and why actually giving her a reason why she's following RWBY's lead and not siding with Yang in this moment. And that was really good. It was really important. And it also put Blake's initial return at the end of volume 5 into new better light. Because yes, she realized that the one she hurt the most was Yang, and so it made sense in volume 6 for her to be with Yang throughout that whole thing. And then it didn't make as much sense in volume 7 for them to, spend every moment of screen time together. But it's not just Yang. At the end of volume 3, Blake abandoned her team, not Yang and Yang's teammates. It was her team too, and this episode really put into focus that Blake has just as strong of a connection to RWBY and Weiss as she does with Yang, which kind of puts the shipping angle into question, which again this is all positive things. I'm saying this is all for Blake's benefit. It fleshes her out, it fleshes out the team, it fleshes out everyone's dynamics, and it really highlights why that scene in episode 4 didn't really work. So I saw the Ladybug shipper. I saw the Ladybug shippers coming out in force.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, did those guys break out of their fucking coffins and climb out of the grave? Because Ladybug hasn't had any bait.
Only one scene, guys.
Years.
Listen, let them have this, okay?
Okay,
shippers are easy to
they can have this for a week.
Shippers will settle for table scraps, I swear. And I'm speaking as a shipper.
Yeah.
I literally, my next video, which will already be up by the time you're listening to this, it's coming out on the 11th, is top 5 favorite ships that are unconfirmed. Top 5 unconfirmed yet still viable ships.
Yeah, you mean you're unconfirmed or crack ships, basically?
Not crack ships. They still have to be viable for me to deign them with a response.
I still think the crack ship is the best part of our hazing process to any members on the Discord.
Yeah.
But it's this year's Valentine's Day special. For the people who are listening to this right away, it's it is February 7th, but you'll be listening to this on February 13th. That's when this will be uploaded. But then tomorrow, Sunday, the 14th, Valentine's Day, and yeah, it's that time of year.
Single Awareness Day. Let's go.
Yes. So anything else to talk about as far as this whole sequence? The Schneid. Oh, we should probably talk about the fact that Ironwood's orders included Penny to self-terminate.
Yeah, self-terminate, open the vault.
Oh, I didn't realize those were Ironwood's orders. I thought they were just Watson's, but that's good.
Not in that order. Yeah, not in that order.
Yeah, I know, not in that order. I was listing them off.
Well, to be fair, on that sort of robot, it's that as an option, it makes perfect sense.
I mean, it is assuming he'll let her remove her core first.
Yeah, I mean, it shows that Ironwood is treating her more like a tool than a person, or it goes back to the whole, if you were one of my men, I'd have you shot.
If I was one of your men, I'd shoot myself.
Yeah. Ironwood is a bit like Aka Inu from One Piece. He's absolute loyalty. If you try running away, he'll just murk you.
Yeah, no, we'll see how that.
Terrible. Aka Inu is like the most evil of the admirals.
Like you don't get. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
It's like you don't get to you don't get to leave. You're fired, but I'm going to fire you by form of lava. Like that's just
literally
over.
Fired.
Literally.
He just aces a bunch of people.
Oh. Goodbye.
One Piece is great. I've been watching a lot of One Piece content lately.
Awesome.
I've been trying to get into the manga because apparently the anime is shit. So
yeah,
I'm trying to read the manga.
I wouldn't say it's shit.
No, man, the light novel
the anime.
Better.
Okay, the anime starts off really good because the manga was pretty far ahead at that point, and they'd have the occasional filler-ish arcs that were actually like the cover stories that just got adapted and padded out into full-length episodes. But once you get in the anime, once you get to like Water 7 Enies Lobby area, they start doing one chapter per episode, and that's been kind of the case ever since.
Okay.
And so from Enies Lobby on, the anime is borderline unwatchable in bulk.
Got it.
Like you might as well watch people's like edited down reactions to it, and you'll get everything in a much shorter time. Or just read the manga, where you get everything without any cuts in a way shorter amount with better artwork.
I would still like. I don't know. Like that's kind of a hard thing to make because you can have your opinion about the anime, but like I think even if you just read the manga, I would still go back and watch certain arcs as the anime itself. So because there's some things to be said about music, voice acting, and the emotional moments, especially like Enies Lobby stuff. Like Enies Lobby, there are many arcs. I'm like, yeah, you should probably be watching those too.
Yeah,
like it's like there are. I mean, sure, there are like you can specify which episodes there are for the arcs and stuff like that. So you're not watching filler arcs if you want to go back. But like, I wouldn't just downrate. Be like, hey, just don't watch the anime.
Some things is good.
Cool. Some things are just really fucking cool. Like don't disregard the anime. But yes, I'm glad you're getting into One Piece.
So if we don't really have,
there is. I think dude would actually murder me if I didn't mention this. But there was actually a little callback to Blake and Weiss's advice to Nora when Nora was helping out Penny when she was freaking out.
Yes, that was actually a really good moment.
Yeah,
and I'm glad you brought that up.
We're actually reaching out to comfort Penny and stuff like that, and letting her know that
Penny's having her Arnold Schwarzenegger at the end of Terminator 3 moment, and Nora is the only person there who even knows Penny's name. So she just takes it upon herself to, give Penny the advice that she was given earlier in the volume by, again, Blake and Weiss. Blake climbing her way out of my shit list.
Yep.
Dean had to be there. She helped out.
Yeah.
Unironically, Blake's been done a good chunk with just this last bit to crawl off the shit list. But yeah, no, I like it. And then I think it's funny how the butler comes back and it's like, yeah, I think I could fix it. But then my head's like immediately running towards like you go to the Jiffy Lube to get your oil changed. And they're like, yeah, we need to get all your other fluids done. That'll be $600. And you're like, no, go away.
I used to work at Jiffy Lube.
Yeah. Klein is like, she's based on a human, so I think I can work with this.
Yeah, okay.
That's like whenever, it's like the apocalypse, you don't have a doctor, and your wife's about to give birth, so you go over to the vet, it's like, hey, can you help me give birth to, like, midwife for my wife? And the vet's like, I mean, like, what's the difference between, like, a horse or a cow baby and a human baby? As he, like, reaches in and grabs the shackles to yank the baby out of your wife.
I'm not even a woman, and I clenched.
The more you know.
All around me are familiar faces.
You're welcome, media.
Moments like this are why I wish I just had the time to do like podcast highlight reels like I did after Volume 4.
Oh man, yeah, those are good times.
This is not Daijobu. Oh god.
That would certainly be on the Volume 8 compilation.
If we ever have one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite podcast, Timmy? I like the one where High Powered makes a joke about giving. So I like how that kind of comes back, and how, just because it's a part of you doesn't mean it has to dictate everything. So Nora not gonna give up on her feelings for Ren. She's not gonna like abandon them just because, but she's not gonna spend every waking hour trying to get with him. She's she's still her own person, even when they do end up together.
She never really has, but yeah.
Yeah. She just doesn't realize that she never has. Like that's the thing about, the whole perception is reality thing. We know, as, from the outside in our own world looking into this world, that Nora is a very different person from Ren, and that she does have her own character quirks that have nothing to do with Ren. But Nora doesn't realize that, or didn't realize that when this volume started. And that's where the issues were coming from, was her own perception of herself, not who she actually is.
We know this. Some fans don't, but we know this because we actually pay attention. I don't know if you guys have talked about this on the podcast yet, but do you think Nora's injuries are going to end up being are going to be permanent or long lasting? I've talked in the past about.
I'd be totally fine with it.
Yeah, because I've talked about that in the past about this main cast it's always been really crowded, and as much as I love Ren and Nora, and as much as Renora is a fantastic ship and stuff like that, I would not mind them. I don't know. I've talked about Nora getting pregnant and stuff like that, and them taking some time off to raise a kid or something. Or in this case, maybe they get them out of here and Nora's still recovering, and like in a previous episode she asked what am I good for now, basically, while she's lying there, and this is the answer: you're there for moral support, and that's actually very important. But so it does seem to raise the question of are these injuries permanent, or are these injuries gonna keep her down for a long time, going to take a lot of recovery time and stuff like that?
I don't know about having a lengthy recovery time. My thought is that I would like to see the scars stay.
Yeah, the scars are staying.
Yeah, the scars should stay.
And that's as far as I'm willing to take it.
They need to be a constant reminder to Penny to not be the girl with the hammer, and that's lusting for Ren's dick.
You mean Nora?
I mean, not only that, I just like it when scars accumulate in a semi-realistic way like that.
Yeah. Like it's just
My Hero Academia is really, really good about this.
Yeah, I was just about to.
We see those scars on Deku's hands. Yeah,
and having scars on a 3D thing is not as like time consuming as like making sure like all of Deku's his scars and his wounds and stuff like that are on each and every single panel. So it's like you can put them on there. They're there. They're the constant reminder. It's not like some artists like it's not like some people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot he has like scars on his right arm. For like some artists, like, oops, I'll have to go in and re-edit that later.
But yeah, so if they take this, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't mind if they took this opportunity to kind of, I don't know, put Ren and Nora on the sidelines for a little while and let Team Ruby and maybe Penny, maybe Jean like lead the action and stuff like that, or do things their way. But yeah,
I mean, they could do that. I don't know. It's like, but if they take like, especially because this is a crucial moment, and but then again, it's like a lot of shit's gonna be happening during these like really fast paced, like within a few hours of each other kind of events.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, yeah, even if like shit goes to fuck and like Ren and Nora get split off from everyone else, it's like I think if they do that when Nora comes back, she's gonna be like fucking super strong as shit because she'd okay, and by anime logic, she'd have increased her threshold of durability and energy, so she just like channel more.
Or it can just be like Cobra Kai season 3, right? Where it's just like where we get lengthy bits of her trying to learn how to walk again. I don't know if I was the only one who saw that, but it was fun. It was fun.
I didn't watch
I'm still in season 2.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have my
own lift her hammer again, but
I don't have my own Netflix account, so I only watch Netflix when I happen to be up and about when my mom's not here, which is very rarely. And even when it is, even when I can watch Netflix, I end up not watching Netflix because I'd rather watch YouTube and Disney Plus and play video games.
There you go. But no, so that's just something that I was wondering about. I don't know. A lot I haven't gotten to talk to you guys about instead, but that's okay.
That's fine. It's like I haven't personally watched it myself, so like I'm not there for that one. I would think the one you would be talking to about that would probably be like Coop mostly. I don't know if Dude has watched it or if High Power.
Okay.
I know Coop's watched it. I don't know anyone else. Cobra Kai.
I was actually talking about.
Oh, yeah, that one? I don't care about spoilers because then it'll make me want to watch it.
Okay. But let's end this off end off this part of the podcast with just mentioning that this episode is bookended by scenes in the prison. First scene, Crow, Robin, Watts, and Jacques are in the prison. Explosion. It's actually kind of poorly edited. Bird just kind of shows up. It's Crow. It looks like a crow, but it's so poorly edited, and because they just refuse to show Crow actually transform, there were some people who were thinking it was Raven. No, it's Crow.
Wow, Crow leaving what's at the end, dead? Lame.
Yeah, at the end, Cinder's like, "Oh crap! I didn't kill Watts. Oops. Might as well actually do what I came here to do and rescue him." I like their banter. I still like their dynamic. I like how she just picks him up and then rockets out the door.
Just
completely ignores the soldiers trying to stop her.
I'm assuming her plan is to head to the academy to try and just wait for Penny to come to her or something, or I don't know.
Probably to get her into the vault.
Watts supposedly has a way to track Penny, so
that could be true too.
And within the next few episodes, we'll see Cinder clashing with Ruby, and after she finds out that Penny is with Ruby, she'll probably swoop in and pick up Emerald and Neo for
Penny. That's all you had to say. Muscle. I mean, Ruby. That's all you had to say. T Cinder.
Yeah, because I don't see Cinder doing well on her own against all of them. Even if Penny is completely out of commission, you still have Blake, Weiss, and Ruby together. So I would think we might finally be getting that Weiss versus Emerald fight that's big T since Volume 2
Yeah.
that we never got.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't cared in forever.
I mean, I never cared, but
yeah,
I have to point that out.
Look, everyone needs their own little person. It's like
everyone needs their nemesis. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Other side notes, because the whole prison break thing, like that was actually kind of like a weird cut thing too. I can agree with that. It's like May had to ditch everyone else at the Shinee Manor to go to the crater, and we actually saw like a weird like giant seer, basically.
Yeah, a squid grib just
cracking. We've seen them in the background in a handful of different scenes in this volume.
I must not have paid more that much attention.
They've been in the background.
Okay.
The captain of the ship is just a genderbit Moby Dick as he's angrily throwing spears at it as his ship's going down.
Yeah, here's hoping those drones know how to maneuver.
Yeah.
They're going to be evacuating people, because I'm assuming they're not going to be dropping the entire kingdom on top of a bunch of people, even though I'm pretty sure
Atlas I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do. I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to do.
Think so, huh?
Yeah, they got to fill that crater somehow.
That's been kind of my question with this volume is the implication seems to be that, Team RWBY is going to lose. They're going to come out of this, as the losers. It's just the question of to what extent. And I've always figured like they're not going to drop it on a bunch of on all these civilians, are they? They're not going to drop an entire kingdom on a bunch of these civilians. But as it's been going on, I've been kind of like, maybe they actually will. But
yeah,
we'll see how this evacuation goes, or if this if evacuating people to up to Atlas is actually going to be the better option.
They lose, but Atlas just floats slowly back down into the crater.
That would kind of be lame.
I mean, I think that would be a good way to do a Pyrrhic victory, where they lose the relic, but they don't lose 2 entire cities because everyone is on Atlas at that point and not in the crater, so nobody gets crushed except maybe like
no big civilian casualties,
except the one old couple that just refused to leave their house during.
It's kind of like do we limit the casualties to like from the tens of thousands to like maybe a couple of hundred? Is kind of
and it can still be the question of, and it can still end with the question of, was it worth it, to save all these people, even though I am now 2 huge steps closer to my goal, and still hoping for Cinder RWBY to end the volume in Cinder's grasp.
Yeah, there's still the B plot.
I think that would be a good Pyrrhic victory for RWBY. If she just loses the relic, she still has a chance to save the world. If she loses 2 full cities, one of them being Atlas, and the relic on top of that's kind of bullshit. Honestly, I don't like those kinds of stories.
I don't know. That's like
kind of drifting into darkness-induced audience apathy, basically, where it's all like, do I even care if this world survives anymore, considering how many people are dying in it?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to say that kind of thing, that it would end up like that, because there is Grim Invasion still going on. Why would Salem hold back? Then there's still the B plot going on in the whale.
Yeah.
That we have to remember, because it's like
the whole thing we forgot about the bomb. We forgot about the suicide mission.
Bomb play there, and especially from the little sneak teasers we got, where Salem's like pissed off. So like something probably happened.
Like claws Oscar's eyes out. That had me wonder if she's gonna absorb, she's gonna do what Cinder was doing with to the maidens. She's gonna absorb Ozpin into her or something.
The last thing she wants to be is trapped. The last thing she wants to be is trapped with Ozpin.
Yeah, probably not.
The last thing she wants.
Ozpin's like, man, true. I'm really glad I don't have to have sex with that lady now.
Speaking of shit list,
Oscar. What was the other implication too? That maybe they're just gonna do a whole bunch of people are just gonna show up to go save Atlas was kind of in the teaser too. Also,
that's
a bunch of other kingdoms and rescue efforts. Although this was all, I'm not sure if this has actually been only 2 days, really, but that there was going to be other kingdoms were going to show up and evacuate people, but.
I would be okay if they're doing the whole what's the thing called again? Oh shit! It was the failed British Expeditionary Force in the Second World War, Dunkirk. There we go.
Yeah.
If they do the Dunkirk, where it's
Dunkirk
like
type deal,
all the random civilians are like, get on my fishing boat, I'd be okay with that, but like them turning the tides with random reinforcements, I would not be okay with.
I mean, that's
yeah,
cliche. That's the cliche that I don't want to be saying.
That's kind. I don't know. My hope was basically that like Atlas winds up destroyed. You know, like they get all the people out, but the cities themselves and the resources that they had and stuff like that, like those are all gone. Cinder and Salem as the volume with like both relics, like that to me felt like would have felt like a good, like you said, Pyrrhic victory, where it's like we save the people, but who knows how much longer they're actually going to be alive for, you know, considering we just lost one of the great military powers and 2 relics to her and probably 2 maidens.
Anyway, are we ready for questions?
I think so.
Is that a trick question, or because I remember some of the stuff that was asked last time about blowjobs and cats and whatnot, or something.
Yeah, I will skim the questions before I read them. But if I do come across a question like that, I'm still going to read it because it's comedy.
Yeah.
It's good entertainment.
Fair enough, but that's still a trick question to me. It's like, oh no, here we go again.
Mikkel Catalan asked, did you like the revelation about the Hound, or would you have liked it better if it had just been a more advanced Grimm? Again, I thought it was fine.
Jury's out.
Yeah,
we'll see what they do with it. I have hopes.
Yeah, I'm
the
with
ball
Robert
is
on
in
this one.
Rooster Teeth's court to add spice to this stew.
Yeah, I'm with Robert on this one. It's like I like it, but like it's, I don't know, if they do more with this, it'll be like really even better. But they can still fuck this up.
Blade Charge asked 2 questions. Do you think the guy with the rocket launcher should have aimed near Cinder's feet?
Yes. Have you not played Team Fortress 2?
The Halo logic doesn't. I mean, he didn't even really. Did he even get a shot off on it?
Oh, he got a shot off. I will give them credit, though. He at least made sure that the backblast was clear, as in the other 2 people weren't standing behind him whenever he pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. You got, yeah. In a second question, do you think Salem should have invaded Atlas during the Vital Festival? No, because everything that happened at the Vital Festival is what allowed for the dust embargo, the high tensions, the election, and everything that they needed to get access into Atlas.
Yep.
Like if she just showed up with her army, they would have just been mowed down by the ray shields and the cannons and all of Atlas's other defenses. Like they needed it inside. They needed to get inside and turn the systems on themselves first.
And then there would have been no reason for Team RWBY to travel to Atlas, and that would have been boring.
Cyber King asked, do you think Silver Eye powers need reworking? If so, how?
Finding a way to quantify them, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think they need reworking. The fact that they've only really solidly worked twice, the dragon and then the apathy.
Yeah.
And then kind of the Hound, but even though it just weakened the Hound. Yeah,
they don't feel overpowered or anything. So
yeah. Especially since the Grimm are already kind of fodder for the most part, and we have plenty of non-Grimm enemies like Tyrion and Hazel, who are the actual heavy hitters in Salem's arsenal that just don't have any weakness to Silver Eyes at all. I don't think they really need reworking.
Yeah, could have been explained better earlier on, but other than that, nah. I think they're fine.
Whitley asked, was this episode worthy of being the 100th episode of the series?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, 100 is just a number. Like you look at other episode 100s, and with network television, they try to make it like a big special episode, like a crossover or like a big reveal or something. But when it comes to long running action shows, it's just another episode. Like I remember Naruto episode 100 because that was when Cartoon Network did the big Naruto marathon for an entire weekend, which was how I first watched the first arcs of Naruto.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because I came into Naruto during the Chunin exams. And this was pre-internet media. So Episode 100 was like Tsunade's inauguration and Rock Lee coming to grips with the fact that he had to undergo a surgery with only a 30% success rate.
And that was a pretty good episode. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean that was still early Naruto. It was still, kick ass.
Oh no.
Shippuden is great and Boruto is fine.
No. You take that back right now.
Boruto is fine, guys.
How fucking dare you? How fucking dare you?
I already have.
Is fine.
I already have a video recorded. Actually, I recorded it like a month ago. I just haven't had the time to work on it because I've been working on like Quint Part 5 and the Valentine's Day special, and now I'm back into RWBY. But like sometime in the summer, I will have my video that explains why Boruto is just fine, guys. Get over it.
Well, okay, dibs on the first dislike.
My only problem with Boruto is that he's a little shit without the proper, without a believable like Freudian excuse. He's too much like his dad, but without the reasons.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That
is a conversation for like another podcast that we need to have sometime. But yeah.
So what are the running odds of Boruto hooking up with Sadara?
I ship him with Sumire, so
I honestly haven't been watching the show very much.
She was anime only until they actually added her to the manga because way later.
That was actually the reason why I don't read the manga. So Connor Hines asked, "Do you think they will of a way to bypass the can't kill Salem?" No. Like her immortality doesn't have a limit. It is complete magic ass poolery. Like anything they do, she will just know her way out of it. Yeah, throw her into like the maiden vault and lock the door. She'll just teleport out of there. You disintegrate her, she'll just pull herself back together. You throw her into the sun, she will get out of the sun and pull herself back together. Like there's no reason to think that they will kill her when they've made such a big deal out of killing her not being the option.
And like I don't know, I think the whole Silver Eyes theory thing, that is like I don't know, that is dumb. And honestly, I like Salem.
At most, the Silver Eyes will get rid of the Grim Goo, which happened after she became immortal.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like it might weaken her and maybe make her slightly more sane, but she was already pretty messed up, like even before that. So yeah, Salem's here to stay. And honestly, I like that because I think the idea of like a villain who will always come back, and the idea that, evil is just a part of life, is just, and misfortune and bad things happening is just a part of life that is not going anywhere, is a fun commentary, especially for a story that is, that kind of looks at, ideas of heroism and stuff like that. I think it's an interesting take for RWBY, who wants to be, Little Miss Hero and stuff like that, to have to deal with an enemy that will never, that she won't be able to get rid of permanently. So no, I don't think they're going to do away with Salem's immortality. Sorry, thank you.
That's the sequel. We're not talking about the sequel
yet. So the next three we kind of already answered. Rob Crow 85 asked, with the reveal of a human / fawn / huntsman inside the Grim, will it be likely for Cinder to suffer the same fate? Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I think Cinder is a different type of Grim human hybrid. Like we said before, I think that, the Hound was a corpse that got reanimated into a Grim, whereas Cinder is a human with Grim powers inside of her. So it is different, but it does look like
we need to know more. We need more data. We need more information.
Yeah.
There's a lot of implications that are potential, that are all like good and interesting, but it's too early.
Like Dragoon 88 asked, you think we will see another Hound in this volume or any other volumes?
Oh, definitely.
We will see more things like the Hound. I'd like to think that the Hound is still going to be unique and special because it was a dog faunus. I think that every Grim human hybrid we see is going to be different.
That would
And
be
that's
really
going to
cool.
have it's going to have like a different basal animal form. Like Summer Rose isn't, if she does get reanimated as a Grim like the Hound did, she's not going to be like the Hound, or she's going to be like the Hound, but she's not going to be this dog human hybrid. She's going to be like a plant monster or something.
Or she might just show up with like with some big grim, like skin type, grim type outfit and stuff like that. Because I don't know, if you're gonna sick like Ruby's mom on her, you might as well. You probably want her to know that it's her.
I don't know. They could do something. I don't know. There's a whole Red
You know,
Riding
maybe
Hood
she'll grow up with some sort of poison ivy.
It could still be some sort of like big bad wolf thing for Ruby with Summer. Like I don't know. Like I wouldn't hold it against them doing that again.
Oh, I did just think of that. The whole idea that the Hound is the big bad wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. The fact that in the original story he had swallowed the grandma whole, and so the grandma was actually inside the big bad wolf when Little Red Riding Hood was talking to him.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Actually,
and then in the Woodsman, when he cuts the wolf open, Little Red Riding Hood and the grandma both spill out of his guts.
So who's gonna turn out to be the woodsman? So like she'll sick some sort of Wolfgram that'll turn out to be Summer. It'll like swallow Ruby, and Jean will have to cut them out, or someone will have to cut them out. But
So wrapping this up, lastly, Sean Resendez asked 2 questions. Do you think the guy inside the Hound was a powerful hunter or just some random faunus worker? We don't know. The fact that he has silver eyes indicates that he was probably a warrior of some sort. But we don't know.
I don't think his career really mattered.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah, for all intents and purposes, it's over.
Second question: do you think Salem will capture Crow or someone from Team Juniper and turn them into another Hound? Crow's not even in this plane of existence for all intents and purposes. He's going to be all doing his own thing. And
his stuff is with Ironwood. His stuff is with Ironwood, and that's
I don't see anyone in Team Juniper getting captured. Their whole thing is that they're rescuing Oscar.
Yeah, and it's possible that they do something.
I mean,
with in the Grim Whale, but again, we are operating on a like maybe not like a 50-50 chance on this being like just a Silver Eyes thing or a human or it could be on anyone kind of thing. I can't honestly say that it's possible yet because we need more information on that.
I wouldn't mind though if because we see like Salem lashing out at Oscar, so I don't know. It would be kind of pretty dark actually if like if Jean, Ren, and Yang like get into the chamber looking for Oscar, and he just erupts into this like grim goo type monster. They have to mercy kill him or something, but probably not.
They're not going to do that. It's more going to be like like absolutely like more uncomfortable like watching of Oscar getting like mauled and shredded because someone used the last wish.
Yeah, probably.
I'm kind of curious if they're gonna pull off that last wish as a plot device. That might rear its ugly head, but I kind of doubt it.
We were thinking that either Emerald or Hazel or both are going to get to the relic, and that they are going to ask the final question, and it's going to be about Salem's motivations. That was the theory because
oh yeah, that's right.
Ooh, that might be why in the trailer Salem is pissed at Oscar.
Yeah,
that happens. And Salem tracks it back to Oscar and Osmond's doing, and that's why she like gets all pissed at him.
Yeah,
that could be what happens.
By the way, I was saying earlier that I have actually been liking Oscar a little bit more this volume, but like,
are you sure there's been less of him?
Are you sure it's not because like Oscar's been beat up like a sided
it's like
Rocky movie?
I mean, it's also just that like I don't know. I don't hate what he's done necessarily in this volume. I've liked most of it. He's been upgraded from Captain Yamato status of why are you even here? Oh, because someone wanted to show off this wood release ability, so they came up with some bullshit reason to introduce you, to Sai, where it's, well, at least you've kind of got an interesting backstory and interesting lore, but you're still kind of pointless. And they still could have done it better with a different character. Like, that's kind of where Oscar's gone with for me. It's like, I can stand his presence. I still don't think he's necessary.
I hate that you use the Naruto reference at the same time. It's so accurate, it hurts.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is he where's he going with this? And it's like, oh god, he's right. He's right. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about Naruto earlier, so I was just like, let's use that analogy.
I mean, it's perfect, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him. I like him, but he's still kind of like his entire source of creation is still questioned. But
yeah. Anyway, so are we ready to wrap this up?
I could say yes.
If you like what you see here and you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, join the Discord, consider supporting me on Patreon. I got a lot of goodies set up for after this volume ends. We're going to have weekly podcasts are returning. You'll be seeing those every Saturday. Weekly reviews are returning. You'll be seeing those every Tuesday, hopefully. I just got new editing software, so I don't really know how long it's going to take to edit, RWBY review style videos with that. Valentine's Day special, go ahead and watch that. It's already uploaded by the time you're listening to this. And I got other goodies like Boruto is good, actually. And Quid Part 5.
It's not April 1st. Yeah. You can't be putting out that kind of material until April 1st.
Quid Breakdown Part 5. And some other breakdown style videos in the works, in the pipeline, that are going to be dropping starting in March, as well as like honest looks at Ironwood, and maybe, do I have an honest look at Penny yet? If not, then it'll be her turn for an honest look as well. Well, no, Ironwood is next on the list. Like, he was going to get an honest look before, but then I decided not to because I wanted to see where Volume 8 took him.
Good call.
Yeah, it'd be good to wait for this volume to sell before Ironwood and Petty.
Yeah, Ironwood and Penny getting honest looks. Wait, I think I did have an honest look at her, but I'll have to look back at what I've done videos on. I've been doing this for over 40 years now. I've done a lot of videos. But yeah, thank you all for watching.
Remember, wear a mask, wash your hands, and stay safe, please.
I'm just gonna go ride my bike and go to work.
Ding,
and I look forward to the next episode of RWBY.